Ever wondered why some agents falter, even really smart agents falter in their business? Today I'm going to share with you why smart agents underperform sometimes in real estate. As I look back over 30 years in this business and I start to see patterns with successful agents, one of the things that I've noticed is that it's not always the smartest agents or the agents that are really maybe the brightest as far as understanding everything that goes into building a business. It's the ones that execute that absolutely build businesses of their dreams. So what I want to do today is I want to go through and talk about some of the ways that I see and some of the patterns I see that hopefully you don't have in your business, but maybe this is something where you can evaluate what's going on in your business in a way that helps you build the business of your dreams and not underperform. First thing I see really smart agents do when they're underperforming is they have too many goals. They're focused on too many things. One of the things that I've always heard is that in order to do more, you have to do less. So what is it that you're focusing in on? Listen, I've been guilty of this a lot of times in my business where I'll have so many things that I know that I want to do in my business, things that will absolutely help my business, but because I'm so focused on trying to do too many things, I never do any of them at a high level. Let me give you some practical ways that you can do this. The first thing is that identify and list all of the things that you'd like to see added into your business. One of the things that I really like to do, and what I did when I was in sales more, is that I would come in and I would organize and I would say, okay, look, here's the next 10 things that I want to build into my business. A system, a follow-up with past clients. Maybe it's having and hiring someone that's going to help me with transactions. Whatever it is, make a list of the things that you know that if you put these systems or these maybe people in place in your business, it would help it grow. Then what I do is I prioritize what are the most valuable things that I could do. What is it that is number one? Number one might be adding a transaction coordinator. Number one may be adding a videographer. Number one may be organizing your transactions in a way that you could put an assistant in place that can walk transactions through, or whatever the process is that you would need. Once you've organized those and you've ranked those, now what I would suggest you do is put a number beside it. So number one, number two, you've got all that outlined. Then do one of them a month. Make sure that you've got one thing that you're going to accomplish each and every month. And what happens is, typically there's not 10 to 12 things right now that you know that if you added them in your business it would help. And now you've got a systemized plan of action. You've given enough time where you can continue to spend time with the people you need to spend time with as far as your clients. You can continue growing your business. You aren't distracted from it in a way. And you can absolutely begin to walk towards having the efficient business that you need. You see, when you focus on less, you're absolutely going to have more. The second reason I see some of the top and smartest agents I know underperform is they don't have a North Star for their business. And what I mean by a North Star is, what is the ultimate goal of your business? What is the purpose of your business? I'm just going to give you an example of mine personally. Now, mine is different now than it was when I was in sales full time. So when I was in sales, my goal was that I wanted to help 50 families buy or sell a home every single year. Now, with my average sales price in my market that I was in, that was a lot of volume. But I kept that focus so that I could run it through a filter. So when I was asked about maybe taking on the shiny new object as far as marketing, or I was asked if I could be on a certain board in my local community, the filter I ran everything through was, does this help me help and serve 50 people or 50 clients buy or sell a home this year at a higher level or not? And then what I had to do is to say, okay, if I'm going to add something, what is it that I'm going to remove? Because here's the problem is, when you're a yes person like most of us are that are high achievers, what happens is you want to go help and do everything. But actually by going out there and saying yes to everything, you're saying no to whatever it is that's most valuable in your business. So what is it? Find that North Star. For me right now, I set a legacy goal about 4 or 5 years ago when I first started doing videos. And even though I didn't see the results in the videos, I could focus in on my North Star. My North Star is that I can never give back to this business as much as it's given to me. So my goal now is how do I, at the end of my career, when it's all said and done, how can I look back and say that I helped 1 million real estate agents do at least one more deal in their business? You see, that's my North Star. So now anything that comes forward, I run it through that filter. Doing this or serving in this or going and speaking here or doing those things. Does this help me get to my North Star of helping 1 million realtors absolutely have the opportunity to sell at least one more deal in their career? You see, now that I've got a filter, now that you set a filter for whatever it is that's most important in your life, all of a sudden you begin to have those things. And let me just say this. a lot of times I mentioned that it was selling and helping 50 people. But when you really boiled it down, for me it was, am I preparing, my North Star was, am I preparing a better life for my family in a way that helps me be the best husband, father, all of the things that I'm called to do outside of work. You see, when you run things through a filter and you have a North Star, everything else begins to get clarity and you have a purpose to your business. Third reason I see smart agents underperform sometimes is they get caught in the trap of consuming more than they create. Ultimately, if you're going to do whatever that is on your North Star, you're going to be a person who is creating content, who is creating value into the marketplace instead of just getting caught in this scrolling environment. I can remember looking back and I saw where some of my average time period that I was spending on my phone was actually in the like 7 to 8 hours on average a day. This was in the evenings and the mornings. It was when I was listening to videos. It was, some of it was creating and was actually consuming good content so I could create better. But a lot of times top people get caught in this trap. It is addictive. It is set up to keep you on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube longer than you would anticipate. So don't get caught in that trap. Here's what I see top producers that really drive home value and that are very purposeful and get the most out of their time in their business is they actually focus in on creating more than they consume. So what does this look like? And it's not going to happen immediately. I'm going to use this example for me. When I first started doing video, I would do a video and I would have very few views. But I understood that ultimately, if I continued to be consistent in creating more than I was consuming, there would be a day where all of a sudden now I would have people consuming more of what I do than when I'm out there. I'd have them consuming more of my stuff than out there consuming some of the things that I was out there doing. So here's how you turn that around. Find and identify the best way to use your lever. For me, it's always been video. It's always been YouTube. Now it's Instagram. Now it's social media. But ultimately, creating video content that is serving your purpose. I'll use an example. Noah Escobar that works with me. 23 years old at the point when I'm doing this video, he was out there and for now 14 months, he's done a video. At first it was one every 2 weeks. Now he's been doing one every week. Now, at the beginning, he would do these videos and he'd have very few people. Now, here we are 14 months in, YouTube is telling him that on an average day, he's having over 7.5 hours of people consuming the content that he's created instead of him out there consuming other people's content. So there is a lever and you have to understand it over time. For me, it's kind of amazing. Now me doing this for 4 years consistently, now I'm sitting here that every second that goes by, based on what YouTube alone is telling me, there's 4 seconds of people watching my videos. I can't consume at a pace that will outperform the number and the amount of time that people are actually consuming my content. When you focus in on creating more than you consume, everything else takes care of itself. The next thing I see smart agents do that makes them underperform is that they actually don't control their schedules. They're reactive instead of being proactive. Every single top producing agent that I know is someone that has a specific time. Sometimes it's every day, depending on where their business is. Sometimes it's 3 days a week. And sometimes it gets to a point where they hit the tipping point where calls are coming in. But every single day they have time set aside for prospecting. They have time set aside where they're reaching out to past clients, their sphere of influence, people that are in their next 10 list, so to speak, of the next 10 buyers or next 10 sellers they're going to be working with. They are proactive instead of reactive. So what is it that you're doing to control your schedule away? The old saying is that if you don't control your schedule is going to control you. Now is the time for you to evaluate, how do I set my day up in a way? Do you prepare a to-do list the night before? Do you have a specific time on your schedule every single day or a number of days in your week that you're making outbound calls? What is it that you're doing to control your schedule in a way that's going to get you the results? This is an if-then business. We all know this. If you talk to a certain number of people in a real estate related conversation, then you will have a certain number of deals. Be proactive and everything in your business is going to look better in the future than it has been in the past. Last but not least, that I see some of the smartest agents I know that underperform do is that they don't hire assistants. They're control freaks. They don't ever allow someone to come in that maybe they can pay somebody at a lower pay scale than what they are to do activities that gives them a leverage that helps their business grow. I'm going to use the example. My friend Vince Lisi used to say it this way, or he always says it this way. He says that for every $100,000 you make, that basically means that you're a $50 an hour employee. So if you're out here and you're making $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year, figure out what your hourly rate. At $200,000, you're basically a $100 an hour activity, or you're a $100 an hour person. So what is it that you're doing? Are you still posting all your social media? Are you still out there trying to manage a contract through the process when you could hire somebody that can be on the transaction coordination side? Are you someone that's editing videos before you post them on social media? Whatever it is, identify the things. And I would encourage you, this is what I would do, is I would make a journal for a week of everything you do in your business, the time you spend on a daily basis. When I did this, it was extremely eye-opening. So let me tell you what I did. I went out and found a transaction coordinator. Now, there's so many things that are overseas. I found a company that works with people that are virtual assistants from the Philippines. I have somebody there that absolutely helps me make my Instagram look better than it was, and my following is growing faster than it would have if I'd have spent the time. I have somebody that I'm paying something that is a much lower pay scale than what I can be doing activities-wise for the things that I do and the amount of business that I do. So what is it that you can do? Transaction coordinators, those things. Listen, and if you're curious about that and you want to know the company that I found that basically walks you through the process where they identify the people in the Philippines, you do a virtual, basically going through and interviewing these folks on Zoom with their assistants where they ask the questions, and then you select or you just decide not to. If you want to know more about that, just email me, jimmyburgessrealtor@gmail.com, and I'll send you kind of the link to their place. But what are you doing to make sure that you're leveraging your time and you're hiring assistants locally or virtually that can help you take your business to a whole other level? When you find the time to actually find someone and you step back a little bit from everything you've been doing that is lower cost initiatives for your business, now you're at a place where your business begins to grow at a pace that you can't even imagine. I hope these have been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.